Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. How are you? I hope everyone is okay. It's fine. So tak ada yang sakit apa-apa. InsyaAllah kita continue with our second part of the lecture on the sources of financing. So last time I have started with some long-term sources of financing, which include the issuance of ordinary share, preference shares, and then debenture. We have also looked at leasing, we look at hire purchase, and then of course we look at some government grants to help small business especially to start up with their business and finance their needs. So today we are going to look at the another part of the long-term sources of financing for businesses. Here we're going to look at the relationship between the private sector and the public sector, which involve government. So let's look at the slide now. Okay, we're going to look at this particular kenapa tak keluar okay, we're going to look at again. Let's start again. Okay, look at the Private Finance Initiative, PFI. So this is something new which Malaysia has started since 2006. So it was announced the 9 Malaysian plan. So what it is focusing on is the what we call participation of the private sector with the public service. Public service here refer to government in terms of building infrastructure for government needs. Okay, so here this is a special initiative. Normally, what happened is, like for example, our building in section 2, section 1, UiTM Shah Alam ni, when government want to build university, for example, that means government need to come up with their own money from the public spending lah. So normally government will use tax money collected from the companies, the public, and then they build the university. So government has to, build from A to Z, finance, build finance from A to Z. So doesn't involve the private sector at all. So sometimes it's going to be very expensive for the government to do this, because imagine now if the country is growing, you need many more universities and so on. For example, your ITM, we need more branch campuses. So government will not have sufficient money to, finance all these requirements because the amount of money collected from the public in the form of tax, from the companies and so on, from tax are quite limited in a particular year. So therefore, they need to have funding from somewhere to implement what government has planned for the country. So in this case, they invite the private sectors to participate here, to form what we call collaboration partnership with the government, so that the government will not have to cough out the money, but the financing will come from the from the private sector, and therefore the private sector build and manage the what we call facilities or infrastructures for the government after for a period of time. For example, for 20 years, the government can use the what I call infrastructures by paying rental money on a yearly basis to the private sector, private company. Okay, for example, now if you look at UiTM Punca Alam, so that is part of what we call as private finance initiative, where the the whole of Punca Alam was actually constructed through the private sector. Of course, the government will have a lot of say on what building to be built, what facilities need to be included in the contract and so on, and how the students' residence, where to be located, and the plans all will be what you call done by the government, but the implementation or the construction of the facility is done by the private sector. Right? And therefore, you see that the government just used the facility by paying rental, for example, for long-term rental for example, 20 years or 30 years. After that period, then the private sector can actually sell the what I call the structure or infrastructure to the government for an amount of money, basically. Yeah. So for your item Puncak Alam, there's a classic case lah where the government will actually tell the private sector what to build and so on at the Puncak Alam campus, and then once everything's completed and your items start using the facilities and paying rental on yearly basis, for example, for 50 years, for example, at the end of the 50 years, the company that build the infrastructure can actually sell the building and so on to UiTM for an amount of money, right? So this is how we actually encourage the participation of the private sector to join into the government big project, for example. Yeah? So government don't have to come up with the initial money, a big initial amount of money to start with the project. So all that is left to the private sector. So they will take the risk initially. Yeah. So government will just need make sure that everything is ready on time, and the government can use the facility on time, and so therefore government will reimburse the private sector, the company, so that build the infrastructure amount of money on a yearly basis in the form of long-term leasing, for example. Okay, so you see point number 3. Yeah, that is true. This involve the transfer to the private sector the responsibility to finance. So in the initial phase of the project already, the private sector will have to be able to finance the project. They need to find money how to actually meet the demand of the government, and then manage the project until the completion of the project, and then sewakan lagi until the government has satisfied that everything is okay. Then the leasing can be started, so the government will start paying rental until a certain period of time. So here nampak include the construction, management, maintenance, refurbishment and replacement of public sector assets such as building, infrastructure, equipment and other facilities, which create a standalone business, meaning this is a business for the private sector, which later on they will sell the whatever they build to the government at a certain price. So therefore, this is a long-term business relationship between the private sector and the government. As for many companies, this is very, very good because if you are dealing with government, then you have a secured business because the government cannot go bankrupt. So therefore, they like to have this kind of partnership with the government because in terms of their revenue, it's quite stable, quite predictable, so they can actually prosper for company. Jadi sebab tu tender nak masuk for PFI ni very, very what I call very active lah, where many private sector wanted to join in this particular scheme, where they can secure their revenue for coming years easily. Okay, for the government, of course, this is very good in the sense that government don't have to come up with the initial money to start any investment or any project, because that will be burdened by the private sector. The private sector will take the risk, so therefore government will actually save in the long term in terms of using the public money for government expenditure. So the government can plan with so many other things, because the whatever government plans, the private sector will have to actually fulfill kalau betul-betul nak join the PFI initiative. Now these are the main point here that you must understand. This is a contract. Contract for the private party. The private party revert to the private company that come into the partnership as the builder or the deliverer of the infrastructure to deliver public infrastructure-based services over a long period of time. Macam cakap tadi 20 tahun leasing, after that building is siap. Sebab tu dekat UiTM Puncak Alam tu, you tak boleh buat sebarang. That means you want to change the classroom, you want to paint the classroom, even if you want to, the pokok-pokok kat luar tu, you tak boleh tebang semua tu. That means you need to have the what I call agreement by the what I call private firm that manage the campus to get their what I call green light before you can do anything. So therefore until kata 30 tahun dah habis bayar, dan kita jual pada UiTM, then only UiTM can do whatever they like with the place. They want to plant new trees ke, nak extend the building ke, nak tukar color cat ke, whatever, then only can be done after that, but before that cannot. That means strictly the UiTM need to actually get agreement from the private sector or the private party that manage the facility to get anything done. So that is the agreement normally. The private party will raise its own fund to finance the whole or part of the asset that will deliver the services based on agreed performances. Sometimes private party ni pun dia tak cukup duit nak buat projek besar kadang-kadang, so they need to have government punya loan jugalah. So the government can loan money lah to this private party at a certain rate. So that should help jugalah private party to start with the project. Otherwise, nobody will be able to take up the project because the huge amount of money need to be secured before the project can start lah basically. So therefore, sometimes the government also extend money to the private sector sikit lah, not whole, but part of the what we call requirement to fund the project in the form of loan. And of course, the public sector in turn will compensate the private party for the services. Of course, here meaning compensate the private party after dah siap, dah guna pakai oleh government, then the government will pay rental atau leasing on a monthly or normally yearly lah until the end of the lease period. Right, that is a compensation. Of course, at the end of the project, it will be delivered to the government. It can be extended to the government in the form of sale to the government of this infrastructure for a certain amount of money. Okay, in some PFI project, part of the payment method ni nak cakap tadi lah. Soal tadi. Okay, what are the characteristics of PFI? So this is a new thing, not in the world, but this is quite new in Malaysia because we started this in 2006. So therefore, you can see these are special features. So the first one is, of course, the relationship between public and private sectors based on partnership. So you have a partnership of two here: the private sector, the companies, the constructor, what you call the contractors, and of course the government. Government ada banyak lah agencies and what you call jabatan and so on that require what you call infrastructures to be built. And of course you have public sector procures. Procures mean purchase lah. Public sector purchase specified output of outcome of service for concession period. Meaning this is what the government is doing lah. But government beli daripada ni lah the contractors just now or the private sectors on the infrastructure that they wish to have. And of course, they need to actually enter into a contract of leasing or rental. This is called the concession period up to maybe 20, 30 years and so on. So those are actually stated in the contract in the beginning of the project. Private sector determine the required input to achieve the specified output. Maknanya input maknanya government bagi je detail apa je nak buat, building apa dia nak, tapi whatever the detail of the input, berapa orang pekerja, apa material nak pakai, apa semua ni, what machinery is required, equipment apa nak pakai, right? Bila dia punya ni kan, dapat supply from dia punya what we call suppliers in terms of building material and so on, that is left to the private sector to do all that. You just tahu benda tu siap saja, government tahu benda tu dah siap. So whatever yang lain tu, you leave it to the private sector to determine this. So this is easier for the government. So tak pening kepala to manage the project on a day-to-day basis. The management of the project on day-to-day basis is done by the private sector that construct the infrastructure. Okay. So payment for services is based on predetermined standards and this is agreed already lah. In the contract dia cakap kalau siap tahun ni banyak ni dapat rental dia sikit lah. Tapi kalau you dah siap betul, then rental will be full lah and so on macam tu. So therefore this whatever agreement in terms of payments, how the completion, the payment on what I call part completion, full completion, so that is determined in the contract between the private sector and the government and the public sector. Okay, so here of course, once dah siap, maintenance culture I mentioned tadi, is fostered where the concessionaire will be responsible for the concessionaire ni yang private sector tadi, yang build the infrastructure, so they have the responsibility to take care of the facilities now. So they have the culture maintenance, macam cakap lah, tak boleh potong pokok apa semua ni by the users, the government tak boleh cakap ni lah. So until the concession period has ended, so therefore you can see this is what we call maintenance culture. Okay, long term semuanya ni, potong pokok, kalau longkang sumbat, semuanya buat by the private sector. You just pakai for 20-30 years, bayar saja. Macam you sewa rumah lah kan, kalau rosak pintu ke, rosak pipe ke, you just call owner dia, suruh betulkan je, macam tu, right? You tahu pakai saja, bayar je rent on time. Okay, then you can see now the integration of design, construction, finance, maintenance, semua is done by the private sectors. So you don't have to worry about this. Government lah. So nampak the point 3 cakap tadi, transfer of assets at the end of the concession period becomes an option. Government ada option, bukan mesti government beli building tu. For example, after 30 years, dah habis concession dekat UiTM lah, katakan Puncak Alam, katakan government kan, tak payahlah buat UiTM kat Puncak Alam lagi, pindah tempat lain lah. Jadi the private sector can sell Puncak Alamnya site tu pada other people, nak buat private universities ke, nak buat apa building lain ke, suka hati dia lah untuk apa, untuk kegunaan lain, whatever lah. Tapi government tak ada lagi lah set yang UiTM Puncak Alam ada lagi, because UiTM Puncak Alam pindah tempat lain pula lah, because the government do not want to buy the building after the end of the concession period. Okay, so therefore you can see how the government is not being burdened lah by the as long as the government can pay the rental or leasing amount, then it should be okay. And then you have the optimal sharing of risk, whereby risk is allocated to the party who's best able to manage. In the private sector lah, because they have the knowledge, they have the expertise, they have experience, they have done so many things in the past in terms of building the required infrastructure for other projects, so they have this expertise brought into the partnership. Okay, these are the 3 differences between conventional PPP and privatization approach. Kalau conventional ni makna government funded 100%. Okay, ni kalau nak buat maju item tadi, government fund semua, tak ada orang luar campur. Ini memang daripada government, macam tu Jabatan Kerja Raya, for example JKR kan, dia akan buat semua untuk government, sebab JKR is government, so dia akan buat building tu from A to Z, financing semua datang daripada government, orang-orang semua datang government, orang JKR, engineer semua datang daripada government, sampai siap dan government boleh pakai building tu, tak perlu bayar rental apa-apa, because it's already government's property. That is meant by conventional here. PPP yang tadi mention tadi, and then satu lagi privatization. Ini kalau macam betul-betul 100% semuanya datang daripada private sector, maknanya memang bila dah siap dia akan approach government, government nak beli tak building ni. Macam jual rumah lah, bila rumah dah siap baru dia kata, siapa nak beli rumah I. That mean government daripada early pun tak ada masuk campur pun dengan projek ni. Maknanya dia buat suka hati dia. So at the end of the project dah siap, private sector cuba nak jual kepada government, nak tak facility yang kita buat ni. Tapi government tak ada cakap pada awal dia nak macam ni, tak ada. Okay, so that is completely 100% commercial punya transaction. That means it's privatization kita cakap ni. Right? So macam tu kan. Jadi these are strictly what we call ni. Kalau PPP, government daripada awal lagi dalam kontrak sebelum projek tu mula dah sebut apa dia nak, facility apa dia nak, macam mana dia nak layout semua kan. Dia dah cakap dalam kontrak tu for the private sector to actually build. But here no. Privatization is completely 100% commercial. Tak ada langsung campur daripada awal sampai akhir, semuanya private sector buat, lepas tu dicuba jual pada government kalau nak building tu. Okay, you can see now procurement, conventional procurement are funded directly via public budget. Ini daripada budget tahunan government yang kita collect from tax, from other income of the government. So dia akan gunakan untuk finance the project yang government. Tapi tak ada campur tangan orang lain lah, government semua. Immediate impact on public sector financial position. Yes, dia akan impact government yang financial position immediately, because now a big chunk of the government money has gone into the project. Risks are entailed upon by the government. Yes, extensive public sector involvement at all stages of project, mana government from A to Z. Public sector ni refer pada government. From A to Z semuanya government need to actually plan, manage, and so on. And of course, relationship with private contractor is short term. Ada certain project, maybe yang perlukan private sector because government tak ada what I call ability to do that. Dia akan panggil lah private contractor to come in and do certain part of project, not all the project but certain part saja, and bayar habis je tu relationship dia. Applicable for project with high socio-economic return and those justified on strategic. Ini selalunya kita buat untuk sekolah, klinik, hospital. Itu pun sekarang dah mula tukar pada PPP because government kadang tak cukup duit about everything at one go. Okay, so and then PPP kita mention tadi, right? So I explain lagi, can read there. And then privatization, you see this is 100% commercial tadi, funding via private financial resources without implicit or explicit public sector guarantee. Maknanya government tak ada langsung masuk campur. Implicit secara langsung atau implicit maknanya secara langsung, explicit secara tak langsung, government tak masuk campur. So they leave it to the ni, itu dia punya hal. You nak buat apa, buat, tapi kalau government interested, dia boleh jual pada government lah. Okay, no impact on the level of public sector expenditure, maknanya will not impact the government financial position lah, because government kalau tak nak buat apa nak beli kan. Risks are entirely borne by the private sector. Yes, government acts as a regulator. Jadi government just acts as a regulator, macam manage other companies lah. Mana bila stand time bayar tax, you kena submit in your returns. Kalau you're listed on stock exchange, you can declare your profit and loss, financial report, you kena ada submission and so on. Macam tu je lah, tak ada kerja lain. Long duration of relationship with private contractors, right? Private contractors ni dia sendiri buat lah, tapi kalau government nak, dia boleh lah masuk kan. Long duration tu maknanya it's between the normal what you call relationship between the private companies and government in terms of paying tax on time and so on, biasalah. So applicable for project with high commercial viability, right? Ini selalunya buat rumah-rumah kondominium apa semua ni kan. Itulah dia punya the trust dia jarang buat government ni building. Kalau privatization ni more on housing, condominiums, hotels, those kind of ni lah properties dia masuk into. Long duration tu maksudnya duration maknanya antara dua orang lah. So this is common lah if you're doing a big project. Sometimes it take years to complete, 2 or 3 years minimum, so up to 5 years. Okay, so those are the 3 differences. So in the exam, they might ask you to to compare the 3. So I hope you are comfortable with the PPP lah. So here nampak. So PFI under public-private partnership. So you understand the concept first, kenapa nak buat, and then actually the terms normally agreed in the contract, masuk in semua all these 4 points here. Okay, and then sama juga sini, ni ada dia punya what call modus operandi dia lah. Okay, modus operandi ni cara dia punya what I call the project, the agreement, how the agreement will be implemented. Okay, and then you can see that what happened after the project has completed and so on. And these are the main differences between the 3 approaches in terms of funding for government punya infrastructures basically. Okay, that should conclude with the long-term financing. So they're very important for company because long-term financing ni amount selalu besar. And the company need to secure, find the best, what I call the cheapest cost of long-term financing, because nak bayar ni jangka panjang, dia punya interest ke apa whatever amount lah, due to the what I call the lender of fund tu, right? But here of course now we talk about short-term financing. Short-term financing normally kita nak finance our day-to-day operational needs of the company. So kita nak cari cukup funding tak on a day-to-day basis, so that the company will not go into what we call liquidity problem. Kita dah tengok dulu kan, the what we call the current ratio, asset test ratio semua tu. So those are indicator whether the company has sufficient short-term financing or not. So therefore, kita nak tengok what are the sources of short-term financing that the company can actually raise in the short term so that they can finance their day-to-day needs of the business. So the sources can come from dual sources, internal or external. So we look at this very briefly. So the internal one normally come from the owner's investment, owner's own investment of asset in the form of money or other asset into the business. Or if you have started your businesses, so you may want to actually retain part of profit after paying off dividend to your shareholders. You may want to actually use the retained profit to finance your next year's operations. Of course, kalau itu desak, you need to sell some of your stock. Maknanya your share price you can sell. Atau here bukan stock tu, sorry, sale of stock here refer to inventory. You punya barang jualannya jual cepat lah kalau boleh. And then of course asset lain kalau you tak pakai, yang idle, you can sell the asset for some money. And of course we have one more active source of financing, debt factoring. And here nanti kita discuss what do you mean by debt factoring. So this is another source of income for you if you have a lot of debtors in your account. External here mostly will be coming from the bank. So maybe you can go to the bank and ask for a short-term loan. So maybe 1 up to 3 years short-term loan. Hopefully this should actually cover your operational need on a yearly basis. Trade creditor, kalau trade credit, kalau you actually dapatkan credit from your suppliers. But for example, I beli on credit, so that means I don't have to pay immediately the money. The money can be paid after 1 month up to 3 months. You buying on credit basically. Bank overdraft is a facility like what I call credit card kind of thing lah, whereby if you terdesak money, then you can actually ask for use the bank punya overdraft facilities to cover you for a short time or period, then you need to pay back lah, macam credit card lah. Credit card itu boleh pakai lama, so you kena bayar balik because interest is very very high. Okay, so these are the sources of funding. Let's look at this the material now. So here nampak cash flow from operation may not be sufficient to keep up with the growth relating financial need. Jadi kadang-kadang you dah growing very fast. So the cash flow from operation may not, kalau paling cantik you want to use internal fund lah, because you don't need to borrow outside kan. Tapi the internal fund might not be sufficient to cover your financing needs. So therefore you need to borrow for short-term financing. Firms may prefer to borrow now for the inventory or other short-term asset needs rather than wait until they have sufficient fund. Jadi kalau nak buat business, normally you nak lah barang ni continuously be stock in your business kan. For example, jual beg tangan katakan. Tak adalah you nak tunggu duit you cukup baru nak beli beg tangan dan baru nak jual, taruhlah store you and jual pada orang lain. Tak lah. So you nak continuously lah ada inventory tu on the stock, on the your rack tu. So therefore you can do your business without any interruption kan. So therefore you need to be able to buy on credit from your suppliers kan. Jadi janji supplier, okay, after 1 month 2 month I buy balik. So therefore this is a form of called short-term financing that you get from your suppliers without having to pay immediately. Firms prefer short-term financing instead of long-term sources financing due to kalau boleh banyak company nak ni lah dapatkan short-term financing dan risk long-term financing. Kita discuss dulu tu kan. Because kenapa? Why? Because easier availability. Because bank normally deal with short-term financing, banyak, senang je bagi fund tapi kena bayar cepat lah, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years and so on, not more than 3 years normally. Usually have lower cost. Interest charge for the short-term financing, for example, short-term bank loan is much lower than compared to interest of bank loan for longer term. Matches need for short-term asset like inventory. Inventory ni kita nak cepat nak jual kan. Inventory cannot be sold after more than 1 year, you all tahu already kan. So this show that the company has very poor sales kalau macam tu kan. Jadi kita nak jual inventory tu within 1 month dah habis, 3 months at the most kan. Jadi therefore sometimes kita nak bayar balik tu after kita dapat jual barang tu kita bayar part of the money to cover the cost from to our supplier. Jadi sebab tu kita kena matchkan antara the what you call when we buy the goods from our supplier and the money that you can get from your debtors to pay back the amount due to your suppliers cepat mungkin. Matching kalau sebulan you jual on credit pada debtor you, and then of course sebulan juga you nak bayar balik pada supplier you, jadi you can match that cantik, jadi ada lebihan sikit, that will be untung, because of course when you receive from your debtors, your customers, the amount should be higher than what you purchase from your suppliers. Okay, ni dia tadi mention. Now let's look at the first sources of financing, short-term financing. So this is especially true for sole proprietor and partnerships. Kalau company susah sikit juga sebab own investment datang in the form of ordinary shares, jadi dia long term, it's not short term. Owner investment ni normally for sole proprietor, dia own the business, dia jugalah owner. Partnerships, they can give fund very quickly from their own private pockets, kan. So this is money which come from the owner's own savings. Ini kalau sole proprietor partnership, they start from situ. It may be in the form of startup capital that is used when the business set up. Jadi dia gunakan duit simpanan dia untuk buka bisnes. Ini biasalah, you all know this. It may be in the form of additional capital perhaps used for expansion, atau dia nak dah ada business tu tapi dia save lagi, and then slowly they build up how to expand the business, so the business have more, activities, more customers, more assets and so on. So here of course since it's coming from the owner, so don't have to pay interest, but of course the amount that you can raise over a period of time is limited lah, because you take some time to actually accumulate your money to build. Jadi kalau nak buat macam ni susah, bukan susah nak grow cepat, nak grow cepat susah, so it takes some time to grow your business. Retained profits, another source. Ini to ensure that you have this, you must have profit every year lah. Tak boleh have loss. Kalau you have loss, then you cannot get retained profit. Retained profit ni after payment of all your expenses. Kalau ada stockholders atau shareholder, you dah bayar dividen dia, kan. The what we call the remaining balance tu kita panggil retained profit. Retained profit ni is what you call as internal fund. This is very cheap juga lah. You don't have to pay interest on it, kan. So therefore, this is again very, very important for some companies, small companies especially, to use for funding their short-term needs. Next one, sales of stock asset. So here you can sell our stock lah. So sell stock ni kadang-kadang nampak stok tu lama sangat, kan. Nak jual at normal price mungkin tak dapat customer, tapi you bagi discount atau you bagi banyak ni lah potongan, kan. Jadi because why you want to get rid of this stock daripada duduk dekat store you, it will accumulate cost. So therefore sebab tu nampak kita banyak tengok kadang-kadang ini sale season, kan. Ramailah orang pergi keluar nak beli all this sales punya ni, sale dekat Parkson lah, sales dekat these shops lah, macam-macam semua sale, atau ada macam hari raya selalunya sales banyak, kan. So why? Because they want to get rid of all the stock that has been accumulated for quite some time. Sebab stock ni kena move cepat ni. Kalau tak move cepat, 1 tahun duduk dalam tu juga, maknanya you're holding worthless amount of asset which is not generating money for you. So therefore you need to be able to sell off. Tak kira lah after 3 months you kena buat sales, jual, so that you can get rid of all this what I call unsold stocks very quickly, so you have more money to roll back into the business, macam tu. Businesses do not always have surplus on non-current asset which they can sell off. Jadi business non-current asset ni kalau dia ada idle asset lah, ada mesin tak pakai-pakai, duduk tak ada buat produce apa-apa, so you can sell this for some amount of money. Tapi this normally is one off lah, because non-current asset ni tak sebarang jual, sebab non-current asset ni very important for you to generate revenue. Macam mesin, taklah jual sesuka mesin you, tengok mesin apa yang tak perlu pakai. Kalau mesin perlu pakai tak boleh jual lah. Okay, nak jual you punya van, lorries, truck, whatever. So make sure that these are what we call not vital for the operation of business. Kalau you tak pakai, underutilized, then perhaps you can sell off lah for money. So of course, like cakap tadi, point number 3, that you have limited amount of non-current asset. The next one is, of course, we talk about debt collection. Banyak business dia tak jual, maknanya on cash basis. When you do your sales transaction, normally or it's on a credit sale transaction. Credit sale ni maknanya customer can pay you after 1 month, 2 months or 3 months. Meaning you give credit to your customers. Now the challenge now here is, if you give debt pada orang, you need to be able to collect that on time. You don't want the debtor to pay exceeding the time agreed between the two of you, because therefore you cannot get your money back to roll back into the business. So therefore you have shortage of fund to finance your day-to-day business. You not that money you get from the collection to roll back to the business, finance your day-to-day operation, and therefore you don't have any what we call liquidity problem. Okay, so here, of course, you need to be able to collect on time from your customer, your debtors. Ada business yang tak ada debtors lah. Ini yang biasalah, macam macam mana? Macam what we call mini market, supermarket, macam tu. Dia tak debtors, you bayar semua on cash. Nak beli sayur, nak beli daging, nak beli apa, dia tak adalah bagi kredit. Dia kata nak beli cash basis. But of course, not all business are like that. Certain business by nature is like that. You don't have that credit facilities given. But of course, you have to pay on cash. To pay cash normally, atau tidak, you kena tolak daripada punya debit card or credit card lah. Tapi that is between you and your funder lah. But when you deal with the business, you have to pay money immediately. Okay, dia tak ada gap in terms of the the period of credit, tak ada. Okay, so no additional cost in getting this funds is part of the business normal. Jadi memanglah when you jual on credit, you must say in the contract bila customer tu kena bayar. This is 1 month credit, 30 days, 60 days or 90 days. So not more than 3 months. Kalau more 3 months, then you terlampau lavish, you terlampau lenient sangat dengan customer you. Jadi tak elok untuk business, because business nak duit tu cepat masuk balik, tak mau pergi lama sangat duduk tempat lain. So there is a risk that own can go bad and not win. Jadi nak pilih customer for credit facility ni is very important. It's not simply that you give to all your customers the credit facilities. You need to vouch your customers, verify that customer ni memang ada ability to pay you back. Right? Kalau tidak, you tak bagilah. You kena minta dia nak beli barang, bayar on cash basis. Tapi kalau you rasa dia ada good history of finance, memang dia strong, reputable, then you can give credit lah. Tapi depend juga, kalau dia strong, maybe 3 bulan credit, tak ada masalah. Kalau dia tak berapa strong, 1 bulan credit lu test, lu boleh tak? So kalau dia okay, dan boleh. Kalau dia minta 2 bulan next time, bolehlah consider, kan, macam tu. Okay, so it depends on how you actually vouch ni mana tengok who are your customers in terms of the ability to pay back the money owed to you. Now short-term loan, okay, this is like I said just now, you go to the bank, normally for small and medium enterprises, atau some companies also they use this short-term bank loan lah. So normal lah, you pergi bank minta loan, of course you have to look at the period of the loan, berapa amount principal yang nak borrow, and then berapa rate that they will charge you on a yearly basis. Okay, so of course you boleh bayar staggered lah. So bayar balik installment of the loan over a period of time. So this one is good for you to have lah, because now you can easily plan berapa amount due to the bank on a monthly basis, for example, sampai habis the loan. So you can plan this, because you can spread the cost of owning the money to the bank over a period of time. Of course, you kena bayar on top sikit lah, because you kena bayar interest on it. Because that's why it's expensive. Because you bukan dapat macam pinjam 1,000 pulang balik 1,000, tak. Pinjam 1,000 mungkin pulang 1,100 ringgit. 100 ringgit tak ada interest payment. So that is the price that you have to pay for owning or getting the facility from the bank. So the 100 ringgit is the income to the bank. The interest payment is the income to the bank basically. Okay. Sometimes if the amount is big that you require, you kena bagi macam what you call collateral or call security for the loan. For example, kena bagi cagaran tanah ke, atau certain asset punya title. So kalau tak berbayar, bank boleh rampas aset tu and then sell the asset for money, and then they ambil some of the money to pay back the amount due to them, and kalau the balance dia pulangkan pada you balik lah. Contoh. These are what we call security or collateral or cagaran in Malay lah. Apa cagaran yang boleh bagi pada bank. Now, the estimation of cost or short-term credit, here, of course, you need to calculate the interest lah. So you want to know berapa interest actually kena bayar on a yearly basis. Normally kita kira lah effective interest rate. This is effective interest rate. For example, the formula is given here. Cost ini masuk interest plus processing fees by the bank on a yearly basis. Kalau ada lah. Tapi interest tu memang ada lah. Fees mungkin ada, mungkin tak depend on the bank that you deal with. And then amount that you borrow. Okay, for example, you borrow 15,000 at a stated rate of 9%. Dalam tu dia kata 9%. And must pay 1350 interest at the end of the year. So effective rate is the same as stated rate 1350 divided by 15,000 ikon. Tapi kalau ada dia kata interest rate 1350 tapi ada processing fee pula RM50 every year kan. Jadi you punya formula akan jadi 1,400 divided by 15,000, jadi it will be higher. So effective interest rate you lagi tinggi. Walaupun stated interest rate 9% tapi effective rate more than 9% because you dah masukkan ada satu lagi RM50 for processing fees by the bank. Jadi effective interest rate lain dengan stated interest rate. Itu sebab kadang-kadang kenapa cakap 9% tapi you charge lagi tinggi sebab dia dah include ada processing fees, for example. Next one is the bank overdraft, right? This is where there is a lot to be overdraft. Jadi you normally akan buka dengan bank one account lah, bank account. So current account terpanggil current account ni where you can do your business borrowing. I mean you buka maksudnya macam biasa lah. Macam kita orang biasa kita buka saving account. Tapi kalau businesses you need to open what we call as current account. Current account ni ada special facility because you boleh guna check. Guna check ni. So therefore you are allowed. You can actually call sometimes you punya current account tu maybe up to what I call limited amount. You simpan situ tapi kadang you nak pakai duit cepat. Jadi dia ada macam extend overdraft facility ni, meaning you boleh guna duit bank up to 10,000 at a time. So you boleh walaupun account tak ada duit tapi you boleh guna facility bank up to an extension of credit up to $10,000 for example. So tapi kena bayar cepat balik lah. Okay, so kenapa? Because this is a form of loan. Kalau ambil overdraft ni, it's a loan basically. So this is a good way to cover the gap between money going. Jadi you guna ni untuk very short time lah, because you rasa money akan masuk tapi lambat, tapi nak guna duit cepat. Jadi you tak ada duit, so nak guna duit cepat tu you pakai overdraft dulu dengan bank. Of course you kena buat arrange dengan bank lah. Kata ke bank at any time I tak cukup duit, boleh tak guna duit you RM10,000 maximum. Bank akan bagilah normally. So therefore, kalau tak cukup duit at any one time, for example, anak tunggu duit anak masuk tak lama lagi tapi anak pakai duit sekarang ni. So therefore, I will use the overdraft facilities. Bila duit dah masuk, automatically akan bayar pada overdraft amount yang pakai tadi. So this is cheaper than having to go and ask for a short-term bank loan. The interest is much cheaper. But kalau you ni tak bayar, then accumulate will become as bad as short-term bank loan. So interest yang baik is repayable. Jadi amount yang you overdrawn tu, yang you pinjam pada bank tu, yang extend tadi kan, katakan RM10,000, saya pakai RM5,000 sebab nak tunggu duit masuk RM5,000. So saya pakai RM5,000, so saya pakai RM5,000 untuk 5 hari katakan. Jadi akan charge lah interest rate on that 5 days, $5,000 yang pinjam tadi. Bila masuk duit, you RM5,000 dalam bank you daripada customer you ke, then you can settle that plus the amount interest for 5 days tadi. Okay, so therefore macam cakap tadi, you tak boleh simpan lama. Jadi kalau lama dia akan jadi mahal, the interest rate. Okay, next one we have trade credit. So trade credit is how you deal with your supplier. Supplier you, imagine you tadi you dan customer you nak terbalikkan. You jadi customer and then your customer tu jadi supplier pula. Maknanya sekarang you beli from goods to be from your supplier on credit basis. Maknanya you tak perlu bayar lah. When you get the goods for free for 1 month. Bukan free lah, I mean interest, what call interest free funding for 1 month normally. Okay, up to samalah 60 days or 19, depending on the supplier, how generous the supplier is. Tapi yang common will be 30 days that you have to pay back to your suppliers the amount of good that you have taken. Nampak, within that 30 days, for example, dia tak ada charge interest apa-apa. Tapi kalau lebih 30 hari, then dia akan chase you up, dan kalau tak bayar juga, dia akan start adding interest lah to you. So normally dia akan bagi you, katakan you dah beli from dia on credit 30 days, kadang-kadang dia nak pakai duit cepat, dia akan offer you discount, trade credit discount. Okay, atau cash discount normally lah nak cepatkan bayar. Kalau bayar 20 days katakan, tak perlu bayar 30 hari. Kalau bayar within, you bayar 20 days, you dapat certain discount, maybe 1% discount on the amount due to them, due to the supplier lah. Itu kita panggil cash discount. Trade credit discount will be given normally for the cash payment lah. Bukan trade credit discount, normally kita cash discount panggil. Trade credit ni maknanya kalau beli murah, maknanya dia bagi offer discount, barang tu RM100, tapi dia jual you RM98, dapat 2% discount. That is panggil trade credit discount. Cash discount ni nak encourage you bayar cepat. Dia bagi 1% kalau you bayar within 20 days katakan. Maknanya you bayar 99% lah. 99% of the amount due on the 20th day sajalah. Sebab you bayar cepat, dapat discount. You nak cepatkan you bayar. Tapi trade itu panggil yang tadi cakap cash discount. Trade credit discount tak. Kita dapat murah daripada harga asal dia. So macam tu. So of course businesses yang tengok all this what we call, dia dapat cash discount ke, trade discount ke, dia nak be able to cash on this lah. Maknanya dia tak boleh tolak benda ni kan. Sebab dia akan provide saving for the business. So therefore need to carefully manage their cash flow to ensure they will have money available when the debt is due to be paid. So therefore kalau ada dapat cash discount, ada dapat trade discount, business need to consider very very carefully so that they can do savings. Tak payahlah bayar ni. Tapi provided kalau ada money nak bayar lah. Kalau tak ada, then you have to go for the normal time period. Okay, okay, habis tu sajalah for this. So alhamdulillah, so we have covered everything here. I hope you can understand this, what we have discussed today. Okay, I hope also you need to read a lot more lah, from your textbook, so that you can understand better. Okay, so you can understand better. So therefore, I hope you spend some time reading the textbook. Kalau tak cukup material, then you can go to the internet and simply type one all the items that you're not sure of. And if you're still not sure, then you can contact me and ask me for further explanation. So like I said, all this material we cover for this particular chapter is meant for question 2 normally. Question 2, which are consisted of all these short questions. So you should be able to answer the question sufficiently with some good points lah. Tak payah tulis essay panjang-panjang, but you need to be able to what you call supply the main details that support the particular financing. Okay. Okay, I will give you another 2 or 3 past question excuse me, to look at. But I think you can do this very easily if you actually revise this materials and try to look at all the past years. I think dia ada macam trend lah. So pasal ada pattern, you can nampak pattern itu. So you can actually siapkan the what we call the typical answers for the questions. So you can score well insyaAllah. Okay, with that, I think habislah kita punya coverage of all the syllabuses for this coverage of the syllabus for this semester. Kita cover semua all the main 5 topics, 6 topics lah basically. So I have covered everything. So I think this will be our last lecture. Thank you for staying patient sebab kita buat this ODL recorded some more, then I also miss the interaction part with you all lah. I don't get to know you all personally. I wish I can have that opportunities, but somehow because of this ODL and because of the problem in terms of online learning yeah, I have to do this recording of videos for to cater for the needs of some of you. So therefore, yeah, please ask me, please contact me if anything. So normally I contact, I pass all materials through Abdan. So thank you Abdan for doing such a good job. So they're very patient. Dia memang cepat balas apa yang minta. So alhamdulillah, thank you very much for your ni. Tapi tak ada garanti marks lah untuk dia. It's fair and square for everybody. So but Allah aja balas jasa Abdan untuk buat benda-benda ni semua. And of course, I will tell you more about the final exams punya ni, dates, because at this time I think I dapat dia punya draft date sajalah, tapi I tak nak bagi tahu bila lah, because draft date ni kadang-kadang boleh tukar. So I'll have to wait for the final schedule, then only I can share the dates with you and how the exam will be conducted. But roughly kita akan buat 2 session untuk exam ni of 2 hours each rasanya. Tapi yelah, I cakap je sekarang ni, but things might change lah. So therefore I will have to confirm with you back. So I will, of course, will inform you how the exam will be conducted and what the topics to be included and so on. So for the meantime, make sure you do your past years, do your ni assignment ada dapat semua, alhamdulillah. So another one assignment on the infographic that you will submitted tak lama lagi lah. So hopefully that will be your total assessments will be completed. So if the exam date is known, then if I have the time, inshallah I will give you the total assessment mark before going to the final exam, inshallah. So with that, I will stop here. I hope to see you again. So kalau jumpa tegurlah So even though I might not know you personally, but you have been in my class, so I'm your instructor. Inshallah, I will try to help you lah with any way I can, to make sure that you get a what I call good passes, very good passes for your ACC466. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.